Hey gamers, we're in a backyard today.
My grandma's backyard because it's beautiful today.
It is beautiful today.
We're visiting family for 4th of July, and my parents' house is full of dogs, so it's very crazy.
And
Including
this
our dog.
backyard is really nice, and we covet everyone who has a backyard.
We want a backyard really bad.
So if you have any backyards that you'd like to give away, we're interested.
Mr. Beast, I bought 100 backyards.
Ew. Imagine someone buying your backyard and you live in the house, but you don't own your backyard.
I didn't listen to any of that. What you been doing lately?
Oh, play some Elden Ring.
You been playing Elden Ring?
Yeah, I've been playing some Elden Ring.
Nice.
Really hard.
Really hard.
Really hard. Not the DLC. We're not playing the DLC.
I think
That's
it's the
even
Dark
worse.
Souls of...
Dark Souls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a way.
I think it's the Dark Souls of Dark Souls.
I think it's the Dark Souls of...
Playing video games.
Playing video games. Dang it.
What have you been doing lately?
I've been playing a short hike. I beat a short hike the other day. Beautiful little game. We watched Inside Out 2, which was really good.
It was very fun.
There's a bunch of cool art shows going on at my at the school I attend, including one by Leroy Transfield, who's a New Zealand sculptor. Check him out. He's really awesome.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. I feel like we never mentioned the fine art that we see.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's been good. Yeah, we saw Inside Out 2. We watched Mad Max again. It's been a good summer full of great art.
Yeah, it really has. And especially my favorite piece of art.
Elden Ring.
McKay. Look at him.
Welcome to Gap. I liked that.
Why'd you look so mad?
Like I was going to kill you.
You were like, you think I'm art?
A little birdie told me you're talking about visual art today.
The same little birdie, a different little birdie, told me, I'm not looking at anything.
Oh, sorry. You were
I'm
looking. Okay.
I'm looking into my memory here.
Ooh.
Told me that you were talking about visual art today.
And I think this is a gallery first where we both have the same category.
Except I'm going to do it better than
'Kay.
you.
What are you talking about then? Let me guess. Because
'Kay.
you said is it edible? Because we were talking about it earlier, and I asked if it was cake. Well,
Yeah.
at first I asked if it was Lego, and you were like, "That's a good guess." And then I asked if it was cake, and you were like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
Are you talking about cake?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Like cake decoration?
I'm actually talking about food.
No way.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
No, I'm serious.
Just food in general?
Just food in general. And
like the culinary arts.
Let me give you my thought process.
Okay.
Here.
I feel stupid now. Oh, our grandpa just came out. Yeah, we're filming right now.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm talking about food.
No way.
Yeah. And so here's my thought process.
Okay.
I was on Pinterest. As I do. and we recently attended a 4th of July party, and it was a potluck, and we were all bringing food and stuff. And I was
my uncle brought just a bag of Chex Munchies.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And he didn't obviously have Pinterest. And so I was looking around because I was like, I really want to bring something cute. And I know that there's so many cute food ideas on Pinterest and stuff. And I was kind of shocked and blown away at how many intricate and intense and themed recipes there are for a barbecue, especially an Independence Day barbecue.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, it's really cool the amount of work that people put into these recipes, and not only the recipes themselves, the flavor profiles, making sure it tastes good, everything like that.
Yeah.
But theming it to the holiday and making sure that it's the right colors, and making sure that the photography of the food is...
Yeah, because the photography of the food always looks good.
It always looks really good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's for Pinterest, obviously.
Okay, cool.
But
that's I guess that's kind of the point of Pinterest, is that
Yeah,
things
that
look
it
really
looks
good, so
good.
you can pin it. Whatever.
It's aesthetic. And so that got me thinking, the question that most everybody kind of already knows the answer to, but is food art?
Absolutely it is.
Yeah, most people would agree.
Yeah.
And I think even if you go into any Barnes & Noble, you'll find a sign that says, I'm not a chef, I'm an artist.
And it's all the cookbooks.
Yeah. It's just like, or the little signs that are like, food is art, and I'm the master preparer.
Well, immediately when you talked about food, I was like, I'm thinking about like super fancy dishes. But as with any art, there's always so many different levels of what it is. Because in the world of like film, you have like stupid little internet videos. And you also have documentaries on YouTube, and you have like children's animation, and you have like Citizen Kane, like the super prestigious fancy films. And with like visual art, you have like pencil drawings and people on DeviantArt, and then like the Mona Lisa. And with food, you have like dinky little things that people make on Pinterest and fast food.
Those aren't dinky.
And you have like the big...
You have people who put like 1 ounce of steak on a plate and like a mint leaf.
So like, I think what I'm trying to say is, like all other mediums, it has the wide range.
There's layers to it, but it's all considered art.
Yeah.
And so I had a couple of other questions that I kind of wanted to start out our discussion on, and then I have some philosophy for you.
Okay.
About what really is art, because I thought that would be interesting to explore here. But my first question and you can kind of see how my thought process came from like a 4th of July barbecue to like fine dining and stuff, and like what is art and everything like that. So my questions are, can you, now this seems a little bit off topic, can you over romanticize life? Because sometimes I feel like these people who are like, oh yeah, everything's art. And like my eggs this morning were art because they gave me an aesthetic experience.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you can do that too much? And maybe that's not romanticization.
Okay, this might not answer your question, but I think that there is value in the mundane.
But is it art?
The mundane things? Uh-huh. I think they can be. But I think the uninteresting things of life that we don't pay attention to, that we don't necessarily consider art, make other things more interesting. And that's different for every person.
That's really well said.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like the countertop in our home or a doorknob is pretty mundane. To me, those are just normal everyday things that I need that in one way or another help me appreciate the bigger stuff. But to someone else, those things are really important.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't think that answers your question at all, but
let me put it in place here.
All right.
In philosophy, there are kind of 3 accepted definitions of art.
Okay.
And I'll link the paper that I got this from in the comments.
Yeah.
It is first an object treated by society as primarily an object of aesthetic consideration, which includes architecture. Yeah. It just means like people say this is art, and so it's art. They made it to be art.
Which that mindset came around in like the mid 1900s.
Mm-hmm. And then second, the declaration of something as art that is man-made or had man interference, such as placing a rock in an exhibit and saying this is art because I put it there.
Okay.
And third, and this definition is dismissed as insufficient, is something that gives rise to an aesthetic experience.
Okay.
So something that makes you feel something.
Yeah.
And let me define it even further. An aesthetic reaction is defined as an emotional response to a sensual experience where an object is appreciated for its own sake.
Yeah.
And so in the context of food, what this meant to me was that it's not quite chugging coffee so you can get the caffeine. It's drinking your coffee and tasting the bitterness and, tasting the cream that you put in it stuff. Yeah. That's what gives you the sensual experience to have an emotional response to it.
Yeah. Coffee's a great example too, because people get so into like their different brews and like their coffee stations and like getting it all perfect and then having that perfect cup of coffee. There's definitely an art to that where you're gathering the right ingredients and using the top quality stuff to make something enjoyable.
Yeah.
And something that makes you feel something.
Yeah.
Sounds like art to me.
I have a lot of foodie friends.
Yeah.
And I
yeah, you do.
I thought foodie was like more of a millennial term that people are like, yeah, I love to eat burgers, and so I'm a foodie.
You're not. I don't think you're totally wrong on that.
Yeah. But I've come more to realize that people who really consider themselves foodies are people who really value this senses, like the sensual experience of eating food.
How it smells, how it looks, how it tastes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And so this paper, it goes on to say that there are kind of two ways to have an emotional reaction to something. One is inexplicable affinity, which is you're at the top of a mountain and it takes your breath away and you're not sure where your joy's coming from, but there's joy,
Yeah.
You don't know, it's all of a sudden that inexplicable affinity,
How I felt watching The Holdovers. Or Spirited Away.
Yeah. But on top of that, it's intrinsic value from memory and experience, which I would actually label your Holdovers experience more under that.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Because it comes from what you hold dear.
Yeah, that's true.
And so, all of this to say, I've defined a lot of things. It comes down to art being something that you experience, or it's a sensual experience for you that gives you an emotional reaction. It's aesthetic.
Yeah.
And yeah, I forgot where I was going with that.
And you think food falls under that category?
I do.
Nice.
Except when it doesn't.
When does it not?
When the audience member isn't appreciating it.
Gotcha.
Or, it can be, I think, let me define it this way. I actually wrote down my own definition here. Okay, it's food created with the intent to give rise to an aesthetic experience. Mm-hmm. And it often achieves this.
Yeah.
And so even if the audience member doesn't really fully appreciate it or is chugging their coffee, it can still be something that has artistic merit.
Yeah. Okay. I really hate to be this guy. But what you said reminded me of two films.
Okay.
I don't know why I'm on a film kick. I keep mentioning films, but I really hate to be this guy, but Ratatouille. No, I do want to be that guy because Ratatouille is a masterpiece and one of the greatest films ever. And I think what you're talking about is in Ratatouille quite a bit.
Yeah.
Of this idea that food, kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of brings out this, the senses in people. Where, what was the second thing you were talking about with, Holdovers?
Oh, intrinsic value, memory and culture.
Yeah. I mean, that's the final scene with Anton Ego right there.
Literally.
It brings out, memories, and it's meaningful to you because you have a connection to it.
Yeah.
And the other movie I was going to say is Pig, the movie with Nicolas Cage. That ending, I mean, the whole climax is about trying to get into someone's heart.
Yeah.
Through their stomach and through something they connect with through food.
I think food as an art form is really interesting to consider in a critic world.
Yeah.
Because I was reading a couple papers that were saying that art is hard to judge.
Yeah.
Obviously, of course, art is subjective, everything
whatever.
that. But there are people who are saying that you should be able to objectively say if food is good or not.
Yeah. And I was going to say that, as I'm thinking about food as an art form, it's probably one of the only art forms that has an inherent participation in it.
Yeah.
It has a need to be consumed literally. If you don't, in order to fully appreciate a painting, you really just have to look at it and think about it. But I feel like in order to fully appreciate food, you have to eat it.
Yeah. These papers that I was reading was saying that a perfect judge would be someone that, isn't impaired in any of their senses. They don't have a cold.
No biases.
Yeah, they don't have any biases against food and stuff, and they have the distinction of taste. How wine tasters are like, oh, this tastes like leather.
Yeah.
I don't know if leather's in one.
Yeah.
But good.
There's notes of
couch.
There's notes of Gronk in here. I don't know where I saw that, but.
And so, you have to be able to define the flavors, and you also have to have comparison and experience. You need to be able to put it in place with other food items and stuff. And that seems easy enough, and it seems like you would be able to objectify food enough in that way. Yeah. But these papers went on to say that that person will never be real because every single person has a different age and different different belief sets, different morals, and the way that those tie into how we experience life is you can't measure it. Yeah.
It's our own experiences, our own, no pun intended, our own tastes.
Yeah.
Right?
And we see that with art all over the world. Art from different countries, even movies from different countries, are very different. Yeah. And it's because the people that live there have a different culture and belief set than other countries and stuff. And that's why they create different art. Yeah. And the same goes for food. Like, really, American food versus, like, Asian food and stuff. Yeah. Even, like, as I say, generally Asian food, which is so, like, a huge topic. Yeah. It's so different. And it's hard to blanket under, oh, is this good or not?
Yeah. So food kind of has this, the inherent need to be consumed to be appreciated. And it has this, almost this malleability. Is that a word? Like, where even though, like, most cultures and people are doing the same things to make food, it seems like everyone has their own different angle on it. Mm-hmm. Whether you're taking the individual person, like ask anyone what their favorite food is, it's going to be different, or even different cultures. There's a reason why there's restaurants that serve just Asian food or just Indian food or just Italian food, because they're so distinct from one another, yet it can all be consumed, it can all be enjoyed in the same way.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And you as an audience member gets to participate in that.
Wow.
It's really cool.
Wow. So I guess something that you're trying to say is that, like, food is art because it's appreciated in a lot of the same ways that a painting would be. Yeah. But it also has a lot of things that are distinct about it too.
Yeah. You got it.
Really?
Yeah. Oh. I mean, yeah, that's the end. I'm just kidding. Yeah, that's my ending statement. But the last thing that I did want to say about this is that I kind of looked around for maybe a poem or a certain painting or a quote that would kind of convey generally how I felt about food as an art form and stuff. And I wasn't really finding any because I found a lot.
Really?
And a lot of different things came to mind. Like, even like, I mean, The Menu from 2022, that movie about like high class food. It came to mind, and Judy Chicago's dinner setting. What is that called? I haven't. Judy Chicago's Dinner Party. Yeah, yeah. Which is a famous piece of modern art, where it's just a triangle of 39 plates of famous women or impactful women that were kind of forgotten by history. Yeah. Which was severely criticized.
I know.
And it's all about food. Yeah. Even though it's all about women. Yeah. It's all like surrounding, that's the theme, is food, is bringing it together. Yeah. And other poems that I found, I have a whole collection on Pinterest about poems about oranges.
There's some beautiful poems about oranges.
There's some beautiful poems about oranges, about bringing people together and the citrus of the sun and everything like that. It's very beautiful. Yeah. And so all of this to say, my challenge to any viewers was going to be like, enjoy your food more, or find the art in the food that you're consuming, or take more time or something like that. But I feel like what I want more is for you to look at the art that's around you and the art that you experience and see how many emotions are being elicited from food. Yeah. And what kinds of emotions are being portrayed from the experience of characters with food. Yeah. It's like, obviously it's like eating is very common. And it's going to be in any, like the potato eaters of Van Gogh, it's going to be in any piece of media because it's so common. Yeah. But the way that they use food to convey emotion was very striking to me, and it's not something that I really could wrap up. Yeah. It's just something that I have to encourage you to experience for yourself.
Andy Warhol's soup cans. Yeah. Every still life ever. Yeah. Like cooking in Breath of the Wild, the freaking strudel scene from Inglourious Bastards, Ratatouille and Pig, and I can just think of like so many.
It's in everything.
It's in everything, and
it's such a vague topic.
It's like The thing about food, it's like an instant relatability thing because everyone has to eat.
Yeah.
And so it's something that you can instantly connect on. And so I think food is just this incredibly universal art form that I think we kind of take for granted.
Yeah.
Dang.
I know. Kind of weird, right? So I felt bad not bringing like one piece of art. But I was like, I think we need to talk about this blanket.
I feel like this is really a topic where a blanket statement like food really works.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I love that. Dang. I think going forward, I'm going to try and appreciate a lot of art the same way I appreciate food. I have a need for food, but I don't have a need for Studio Ghibli movies. But like, what if I treated them like I did? And I don't know. You've got me thinking. You always do, but you have me thinking about so many cool things.
Yeah,
good topic.
Yeah. There's a lot of different branches that you can take from this topic.
Yeah.
So it was kind of hard for me to organize my thoughts and obviously present them, but
I think you gave a great overview
with
a continuous string of different thoughts that was so beautifully said.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you want a kiss?
Here?
In the backyard?
On the lips? That was a great topic that I just kind of like, yeah.
And to think it came from freaking Pinterest, like searching for barbecue dishes.
Our cute little 4th of July drinks that we made.
I made really cute drinks.
Yeah, food is art, and it's such a beautiful world, the culinary arts.
It really is.
Awesome.
Thanks.
So cool.
You doing photography?
I am doing photography.
You gonna beat mine?
You made me
better
hungry.
Than mine? Got some water.
Can we please get Cup Up after this?
You are obsessed.
Please.
You have a problem.
Please.
Problem boy.
It.
Can you tell?
What's Pythagorean's triangle of needs?
Are you stupid? Okay, can you tell me your topic?
So my topic is actually something that I'm a little bit familiar with because I use it a lot. It is photography.
Camera.
Camille?
Huh?
What'd you say?
Camera.
That's the idea.
Okay, what is it?
Can you tell me what you like most about photography? Why is photography an art medium?
That's not a fair question because
I know, I'm just trying to pick your brain a little bit.
Yeah, as someone who's studied film,
mm-hmm.
I will just say first that film is better in every way, and photography could never compare. I'm just kidding.
I was like, where are you going with this?
Well, okay, listen. Film is made up of obviously 24 pictures per second, and so the ability of photographers to take a very aesthetic looking image based on framing and coloring, even if they get the color in person or in post, is very skillful. You need to be very skilled to do a good job at photography.
Yep.
And I think this is kind of, I mean, you're asking for my thoughts. These are my thoughts. In our society right now, everyone has access to a camera. And I think a lot of people think that they're photographers now.
Mm-hmm.
And most of our social media sites are based on sharing pictures.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the commonization of it has made it a little bit harder to be a good photographer.
I like that you say that. And I want you to focus on the commercialization or the trendification of photography.
Okay.
Because I think that's going to be a helpful backdrop with what I want to talk about a little bit later. I am talking about a photographer that you probably haven't heard of, that most of his subjects haven't even heard of.
Hey, yo.
And his name is Earth. That's his given name, is Earth.
Dude, his mom ate with that one. She was like, yeah, he's going to be famous.
And he has a photography and Instagram page called earthsworld.
Cute.
Very cute.
Yeah. The branding.
What he does is he's an Oregon-based photographer that goes to different local fairs and convention and just takes pictures of people. Without
their consent?
What? Why do you... I mean...
I'm just wondering.
Yeah, he doesn't profit off of them.
Okay.
But he just, Okay, I don't know about the legalese of it.
Okay, I'm just wondering.
Let's restart that. Okay, organ-based photography. He takes pictures of people.
Really?
Yeah. Okay, that was better.
What kinds?
So earthsworld, organ-based photographer. He takes pictures of people, and I guess it's a good time to show his photos.
Oh yeah.
Because he, I think, is doing something truly, truly special. Let me pull it up really quick.
Taking pictures of random people.
I'm not gonna like show any one image. I'm just gonna show like it just scrolling through his page. But why don't you just look through that? That's his Instagram page.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So now you see.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
The man has mastered portrait photography.
Exactly.
Very cool.
So his real name is Earth. Let me give you a bit of background. His real name is Earth, and he spent his childhood kind of between Oregon and rural America. And he kind of felt really isolated. He was an only child, and his parents were divorced. And this is on his website. So he kind of felt pulled in a lot of different directions. He describes his life as nomadic, where he is kind of, he was kind of moving around a lot, moving between Oregon and Texas all the time. And so his unique name, him being an only child, he felt isolated, and so he kind of just always found this subconscious interest in people watching.
Cool.
And he got into photography as a hobby. He found it a really great way to connect with the world because he felt so disconnected from it all the time. And he found real solace in that. And he did photo editing work for companies, all that good stuff. And I guess one day, I don't know the context for this, but I guess one day he was taking pictures somewhere before he was doing the stuff that is on his Instagram, I think. And he had a chance encounter seeing what he calls is the most beautiful person he'd ever seen. And he just had to capture her. He just had to take a picture of her. And I think he did. I don't know. But it made him realize that he had the capability with his photography and kind of his circumstances to capture interesting looking people. And so now that's what he does. He goes to fairs and he just finds people that he thinks looks interesting, and he takes pictures of them.
That's really cool.
And so if you go on his Instagram, for audio listeners, if you go on his Instagram, I kid you not, it is just pictures of people from the chest up, and sometimes the waist up, but it's mostly just heads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're obviously not posing. Most of them are just making...
Oh, it's all candid. I should mention
faces.
That. They're all candid. So Earth isn't going and saying, hey, can I take a picture of you? Or like, hey, let me set this up or anything. He's just taking pictures of people.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. Do you have anything to say so far?
So far, I think it's very interesting the type of people that he's photographing in these pictures. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they're all conventionally beautiful, which I feel like most people are trying. I mean, that's what Pinterest is. It's just a bunch of really gorgeous people, if we're talking about Pinterest.
Yeah.
These people just are very interesting looking. Yeah, they remind me of Renaissance people.
Yeah.
Honestly.
So I'm really glad you said that. And this is why I'm glad you mentioned the democratization of photography and how trendy it's become.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad that you mentioned they're not traditionally beautiful. I think that Earth is the epitome of the phrase, beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Cool.
Because what Earth is doing, I'm a firm believer that art is people saying, I think that's important enough to portray in my own way. And so when you see a piece of art, you have to ask, why did the artist think this was important enough to recreate or portray in some way? And that's what Earth is doing. He thinks that these people are important enough, in this case, I would say beautiful enough to capture them and to get this moment in time of them just existing and them just living. He's finding beauty in places that the world, that the internet wouldn't necessarily call beautiful. Because with the democratization of photography and with the trendification of it, it's become so important that you need to look good online and you need to make your face look good and you need to pose in a way that makes your body look good. But Earth kind of laughs in the face of that and says, here's this super old guy with a funny looking beard. I think he looks amazing. and I'm going to take a picture of him and put it up on my website. He's not making money, I don't think, and he's not like shouting from the housetops, look at my photos, look at my photos. He's just spotlighting these people, and that's it. And I think that is tremendously noble and so cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed in looking at these pictures is that I was talking about the skill of photographers to actually be good, and how that involves a lot of framing. And I think in my mind I was thinking more of landscape photography.
Yeah.
And portrait photography is very different.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like most people think, oh yeah, portrait photography, it's really easy to frame a person. You just put their face in the middle of the frame, you know?
Yeah.
But I feel that the Earth has a lot of skill in how these people are being framed, and the way that they're looking in the camera, because they're all cropped at almost the same like distance from the camera, and so they all could potentially look very, very similar, but because of the variety of people and just the way that he's framing them in the frame, it makes it very different from all the other pictures. So he's obviously very skilled at taking pictures.
Yeah.
He's not just taking pictures. He's taking little works of art.
I'm glad that you mentioned that, because on his website he says, he has a ton of experience editing photos. Tons of it. It's what he did for a living. It's probably what he still does for a living. And he finds it more interesting to not edit them.
Yeah.
He just gets his camera and takes a picture. So he has the skills to take a great picture, but it's in his lack of doctoring it or touching it up that makes it so interesting.
He's not relying on other tools.
Yeah.
He's relying on the picture. He's relying on the people to make it interesting.
He's just showing us what his eye sees through his skill.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And that makes me appreciate photography a little bit more, because it really is. It's not necessarily the creation of an image like a painter would. It is the taking of, or the capturing of, something that was already in itself beautiful. Yeah. But the way that you take it and frame it and stuff, that can aid in making it beautiful. But the thing itself was already beautiful.
Exactly. Earth isn't trying to make anything, but he is trying to show things.
You know, if I was a person at the fair and I ended up on Earth's Instagram, I would be honored.
Me too.
That's like a very high compliment.
But I'm too boring looking.
I'm too boring too.
Yeah. And so now I want to talk about the actual photos themselves rather than like what they mean.
Yeah.
I think they show diversity.
Yeah.
And the beauty of it. You will find
all ages, all colors.
All ages, all colors, all nationalities. You will find anything on Earth's page.
Yeah.
If you look hard enough. They show candidness, people just being themselves. I can't stress enough how they just show people and the authenticity of that. They don't need to be doctored or edited or be what commercialization would call beautiful, because they just are, and they're being treated as such.
Wow.
Yeah. And I also want to talk about just the people themselves. He finds some cool looking people. And some weird-looking people, and I mean really that in the best way.
That's funny. If we talk about like beauty as a tradition, it's very interesting to see the way that our society has chosen a certain type of woman to be beautiful, or even man to be beautiful. And
I feel like lately that's breaking a little bit.
It's
there's
getting
still
a little bit
level
better.
of it that is.
That says like, oh, you need a nose job to look good because small noses are pretty and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think lately we've been like, oh, look, big noses can be really pretty too, because they are.
Yeah.
But this is very different. It's showing, like you said, all sorts of people who are very beautiful.
Yeah.
And they don't look like big lips, tiny nose, skinny waist.
Yeah. They have wrinkles and weird beards, and they have different facial features. The very things that a marketing agency would call ugly, undesirable, are the very things that
he values,
that Earth values, and that he's saying, look what makes them who they are, and look what makes them beautiful.
That's empowering.
It's so uplifting.
Yeah.
There's something about him just saying, look at these people being themselves, that makes them so much more empowered than I think anything else. That just looking at them and saying, like, you are beautiful. I don't know, man. Just inspires me. I can't describe it.
When I think photography, I think of like the Pulitzer Prize people. And while those are very powerful photographs, a lot of them, you know, were staged, or you put yourself in very, very intense situations to get this really cool picture so you can get the Pulitzer Prize, you know? Yeah. But I feel like those are inspiring in their own way, obviously because of the source material. Yeah. These are inspiring because of, it seems like, the photographer and how he's thinking about Earth. Oh.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's Earth's world. That's what you're looking at. You're looking at his world, which is just the world and its inherent beauty in its people.
Okay, he's got crazy branding.
He is cooking. I love what he does. So where I was going before we got into this levitating, like, philosophical discussion is, like, the people look interesting, and that prompts a lot of people to draw the people.
Really?
Yeah. There's, on his website, he has a whole section dedicated to art that he finds of his photos.
Cool.
And I use them a ton with my friends. When we just want to do drawing exercises, we just pull up earthsworld Instagram. We find a person in 5 seconds that would look interesting to draw, and we have so much fun just exaggerating their proportions and, you know, trying to capture their essence. And
cool.
It's awesome. So I think, in summary, what I think Earth is doing is just so cool and so noble, so needed, and so inspiring.
Yay!
And people are beautiful, and that's it. That's all I gotta say.
Beautifully said, McKay.
Thank you.
That, you know, we just watched recently Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles again.
Mutant Mayhem. Yeah.
And I watched it with my sister, and we were trying to talk about how, like, classic Disney, not classic really, recent 3D Disney has been a very...
Modern Disney and Pixar.
Yeah, modern Disney and Pixar have been very, like, sterilized versions of beauty. They're very safe, very clean.
They've been very...
boring.
Very clickbaity.
Interesting.
Look at the fibers on Mr. Incredible's polo.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking, you know, Anna and Elsa, they're very, very cute, very, very beautiful.
Very safe. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
And we watched Mutant Mayhem, and everyone in that movie is ugly.
It looks like garbage, and that's why it looks so good.
That's why it's cool.
That's why it looks so good.
It's because it's so interesting.
Yeah.
And so it makes me kind of want to flip the idea of what I feel is beautiful, less because it fits kind of society's model, and more because I think it's interesting and I think it's cool.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful way to look at the world. I'm glad you brought that up.
I think the big, stupid, actually ugly, elephant in the big art room, AI, is so focused on, like, making things look so big and beautiful and perfect that I've really gotten an appreciation lately for just the weird and, like, crude and human art that, you know, I feel like it's always an effort to be realistic and be, you know, so perfect and beautiful, when I feel like real perfection and beauty is just in creation and authenticity and just trying to make things look cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Art is human experience.
Yeah.
That's what we're getting at today.
Everybody can agree on.
Absolutely.
Unless you freaking drive a Tesla and want to make out with Elon Musk. Sorry, I don't want to get into that. Anyway.
That's perfect, McKay.
And I think... Sorry, I cut you off.
No, go ahead.
I think food and photography go hand in hand.
They're kissing right now.
They're kissing right now. Because it's both just appreciating things in the world and seeing beauty in like, I don't know, not the mundane, but the normal and the human.
Yeah. And including your own experiences and beliefs and cultures into the art that you're seeing to find it beautiful.
Yeah.
And that you as a person are experiencing the world different from everybody else, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm getting a sunburn.
Okay.
Let's go.
Goodbye.
Bye.